Hello everyone, it's Ricky Cespedes, and I'm here to talk about Silver Bullets, a real great horror movie that I grew up with, obviously. This one has so many great dynamics in it that makes it so much fun. The special effects was so well done, the casting was so well done, and Corey was also in this movie. He was crippled in this movie, and that made it very heartfelt and very touching because he was a person that was very vulnerable to the attacks that you knew as the viewer. If there's a wolf around, a werewolf, he's very vulnerable to being attacked by a werewolf because he's crippled. And that makes the film, it makes it very, you become very concerned for him. And that changes the whole dynamic of how you perceive the film. And then there's also Gary Busey, who's in this movie, who doesn't really act very wild or nothing like that, but he gives a real good dynamic interaction. Everybody in the film is a great cast. Everybody acts so perfectly. Everyone acts so well, so genuine, so honest, so concerning for each other's safety. Even the little girl that's in the film, she's just like born for this movie, born for the scenes, born to perform, born to be a part of this world, and to be concerned for Corey that's crippled. It's just so dynamic. It's just a whole different time. The era of the 80s was a whole different time. The TV shows with the Punky Brewster and Charles in Charge and all these other ones movies. Who's the Boss? I think Charles in Charge was part of it. And it was just everybody was really trying to give their best in this era, give it their time and their emotional investment, their energy into what they were doing. Unlike the era now, which is you can't really compare it to this time period. And so also the special effects was also very phenomenal as well. Back then, right now it looks a little bit dated. It looks a little bit, I don't want to say or offend anybody, it looks a little bit goofy, a little bit. But back then it was very horrifying. It was genuinely horrifying. The stature of the wolf was so powerful, so menacing, so tall, and just the whole plot and the pacing and the direction of the film. It started really like the directors and the writers wanted you to feel for the cast, for the characters, and then over time they started to introduce the werewolf, and which was a man that would tie himself to a tree and would try to protect himself from the people and everything. Over time, everybody knew who it was. And then there was also a priest that was involved that eventually became a werewolf himself. And so that's the girl right there. So that's the thing, is that the whole film really carried itself very well. It was a very powerful, emotional film, very emotionally volatile is what I feel about this movie. Unlike some other films, but very similar to Pet Sematary 2, which is very emotionally volatile. At the end of Pet Sematary 2, you see the pictures, the little circled pictures of the people who passed away as the film ends. And even as a kid, I felt so depressed because it felt like you knew these people. You felt like you were connected to these people. They were just actors. But the whole movie was so depressing and so like horrible that, it's just, that was just part of the time period. That's just what it was. The acting was just so, it was more of a gullible time, more innocent time as a viewer of movies, of horror movies, because we didn't know how they were done. So the movies took us for a ride. They took us to a whole new adventure. Until now we know how things are done. But this movie was so dynamic and it was so heartfelt at the same time. It was so, it took you for an adventure. It took you, everybody was involved in the movie, everybody. You can see right here with the cast. Just look at these people right here in this picture. This was a different time, different era, where everybody that was involved felt like it was a family. It felt like they were involved in something epic and big in filmmaking. This is a time that's lost in filmmaking. This is something that you cannot replicate. This is something that's very honest and genuine, that is very powerful, that is very crucial to allowing a film to be the best that it can be. Now everybody's too jaded, too narcissistic, and too selfish. But at this time period, everybody was involved. It was a collaboration because they worked in this neighborhood, in this city, and it was in a great environment, I have to say. Up in the woods, up in the forest and everything. It was beautiful. Back in America, back in the 80s when America was just like beautiful world America was. This type of thing was taken advantage of because of so many elements of capitalism and all stuff. But so I hope you guys enjoy my review of Silver Bullet. Great classic old retro movie. Thank you guys. Take care.